Hey everybody, I'm Don Faul, new CEO at CrossFit. Really excited to talk to these guys about my initial impressions at the CrossFit Games, how I discovered CrossFit, and some of my top takeaways as we move forward.
Stay tuned to see if I'm the first employee he fires.
And he might talk more trash in this podcast than we talk to each other, so you're going to want to watch this.
Can I really fire you?
You're the CEO.
I love it.
Welcome to the Best Hour of Their Day podcast with your hosts, Jason Fernandez.
And me, Jason Ackerman. With more than 20 years in the business,
As both coaches and affiliate owners,
our passion is to help create world-class affiliates.
and coaches by building
Better boxes.
boxes.
Welcome to
The best hour of your day.
Welcome back to the best hour of their day. Very special guest today, Fern, wouldn't you say?
I would like to think so.
We've got,
Time will tell.
this is announced, right? We're not breaking news?
Correct.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hope
Okay,
not.
this is the new CEO of CrossFit,
Correct.
Don Faul. Well,
That was announced on Monday or Tuesday?
On Tuesday morning.
Okay, so
yeah.
today, as of this recording, this is Sunday. The game's literally just finished.
Just
at least
ended.
at least the individuals like 15 minutes ago.
so my first question is, you've experienced the first CrossFit Games yet?
Yes, correct.
Lots of exciting things.
Amazing.
Where would you rank working out with me and Fern in that list of things that you've experienced this weekend?
That is a really, really good question. I've been thinking about that a lot. And I'll just leave it at this. I will never forget that, and it will never happen again.
Those are both big things. Yeah, it's great. We're out, apparently.
Let's talk for a moment about
Yep.
what just happened. That was incredible.
Yeah, we were on the floor for all 12 of the last heats, right? So 1, 2, yeah, right? Is that right?
The last two events.
Last two events, yep.
Yeah, there was 3 and 3 for
Three
each
and-
gender.
Yeah, for each gender, yep. So that was crazy. We got a fittest of all time, legendary, Tia Claire Toomey. Justin Medeiros goes back-to-back.
Yep.
Crazy. I mean...
And some
you
new
know,
faces.
Yeah, and well, that's what I was going to go with that. I think that we saw a lot of young faces. If you look at the leaderboard, the R's behind everybody named represents rookies. So there's a lot of R's on that board, and I think it was cool to see a lot of the mix-up, and this wasn't really decided for the men until today.
It was probably the closest race we've seen in a couple of years.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while.
I think one of the coolest things, you're familiar with Jackie, just the standard Jackie.
Yep.
Those guys did Jackie Pro. I mean, I would say we're still a little faster than it.
I don't
but
know.
I'm 6-ish for...
They're going 8.5.
No, I'm saying I can do Jackie faster than they can do Jackie Pro, but it's going to be close.
I would like to put it to the test. But
And I've also never pushed the
Let me
row
do
like...
that right now.
I've never pushed the row like Boz had them do. That was
correct, yeah, that holding the pacing.
Incredible.
Some of the stuff that Boz programmed this year, I think really brought it back to the roots of CrossFit. The skills, not allowing some of the pacing that goes on at the CrossFit Games, competition in general. But it was really awesome. What do you think?
Oh, I mean, it was mind-blowing to be able to experience this in person. I think Boz did and Boz and the team just did an exceptional job. I mean, you see the magic happen on the floor with the athletes. What I came to appreciate this year is how much work is necessary to make that happen. There are literally hundreds of men and women working from early in the morning until hours after everyone goes home to make sure everything that happens flawlessly. And to be able to do that with this level of complexity and deliver an experience for the community and for the athletes that showcases the sport, I mean, it's incredible.
That's all, I know you. Obviously, when did you find out that you were going to be the boss?
Gosh.
We're telling you right now.
You're in charge. Wait, I have the job?
Congratulations.
It's not official until you guys sign off,
Perfect.
clearly.
It's done.
I think I found out somewhere in the neighborhood of a week and a half ago, maybe 2
Okay,
weeks.
so probably didn't have a ton of insight into anything that goes on here based on that timeline. Right?
Very limited.
Okay.
Very limited.
Okay. And then, so you've been here the week and you've seen it all. I know you said you wanted to kind of give some folks a shout out. So.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, first and foremost, I think we are standing in the affiliate, and as incredible as the games is and the showcase of the sport, we all know that the magic that is CrossFit, that changes people's lives, happens in the tens of thousands of affiliates around the world. And it would be remiss if I didn't start with just thanking the folks who, from in their local communities, in the local boxes, are doing the same thing. They're getting up early. They're working their butts off all day long. They're going home late. They're changing lives. I think our team this year, we wanted to make sure that the affiliates were showcased here as well and really thanked and appreciated because they're the heart and soul of this community. And so I wanted to just take a minute to really recognize that.
I thought it was really cool. Kiki asked, I think it was during the changeover, or
she asked all the affiliate
and
owners to stand up.
I was surprised at how many
there's
stood up.
tons.
It was incredible to see all those affiliates out there.
I think, at least to my knowledge, because this is the most interaction we've had outside of judging in the 10 year. I think we've been doing this 10 years, but to my knowledge, this is the most kind of interaction and activation from HQ to the affiliates, and I thought it was amazing. The number of stuff that was going on just in this affiliate here was bonkers.
I completely agree. Being able to highlight affiliate owners, country managers, getting affiliates involved in leading workouts, participating in workouts, just a phenomenal experience. Again, it strengthens our experience and reinforces, where the most important part of the experience happens. Again, in those affiliates in those boxes around the world.
So speaking of affiliates, how did you get your start in CrossFit?
Yeah, so I started, I discovered CrossFit in 2014. And, I had played sports growing up and played rugby in college and got real banged up.
What position did you play?
I was a fly half.
Played scrum half in college.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So
it's rare we don't get to talk about basketball.
Go Navy, beat Army, that's all I have to say. Okay.
Yeah, so I graduated from college. I got into triathlon and banged up more of my body, and I'd gotten to the point where obviously I'd heard a lot about CrossFit. I love training, I love working out, but I was really nervous about it. I'd heard a lot about CrossFit, and you hear the rumors that is it dangerous, is it not? And thank God I had a buddy of mine who dragged me in and said, hey, let's give this thing a shot. And so I walked into Flagship CrossFit in San Francisco 8 years ago and got absolutely smoked.
You remember your first workout?
I don't. I wish I did.
I'm surprised you didn't find it while you were in the Marine Corps.
I think, I'm a little older, but thanks for highlighting that.
Oh, you're
That's
in the
right.
60s?
That's right.
Is that what it
In
is?
Vietnam, back in Vietnam.
World War I, II.
Yeah, I just missed it. I got off active duty in the end of 2003.
Okay, so it was like 1 to 2 years after that it started to make its way into the Marine Corps.
Yeah,
okay.
so I wish. It's funny. I think back all the time and wish I had discovered a little bit earlier. But thank God I did. And look, I've got one of millions of stories. It changed my life like it does for so many other folks. And that back pain for me, which had been debilitating. I mean, 10 years ago, I'd wake up in the morning and it would take me 20 minutes to be able to stand up straight.
Really?
My back was that bad. And
was that from rugby or just?
That was from Marine Corps. I did a bunch of long distance triathlon. It just destroyed my lower back. And the combination of mobility and core strength and our methodology, completely changed my life. And I have no back issues now. I'm stronger than I've ever been, et cetera. We know the story, but it was hugely impactful.
Hit him with the L1.
What about the L1?
These movements are
natural,
rehabilitative in nature.
Correct.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to learn that in 2 weeks.
You haven't taken your L1
I have
yet?
I have not yet. So I'm going out to CrossFit Roots in Boulder on the 20th and 21st.
Well, I wonder if I'm working at that one.
Probably not. They probably bring the A team for that.
Are you taking a general level one or one for staff?
A general level one, I think.
Nice.
I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I think they do. I don't know, but I think they do the ones for staff at the office
At
there.
the office?
Yeah.
Okay.
Most of the ones they would do at Root would be for
Very
general
cool. I'll have
public.
to swing by at least.
So.
And you also mentioned, I think you were telling me you have 3 daughters.
I do.
9, 7, 5.
That's right. Good memory.
And they, we were talking about how they were doing the handstands against the wall. So it's cool to see that the trickle down into your life and to see that you're raising healthy kids because of CrossFit.
That's right. And again, I think that also highlights why, a huge part of our responsibility at HQ is telling the story of CrossFit. It's inspiring other people who have not had the opportunity to walk into the box yet, and to be able to do that at all levels. And my kids sitting home watching this on TV, watching these role models who they could aspire to be someday, and my daughter doing pistols and all the stuff I can't do, but I'm okay with that. It's just amazing, and our hope and belief and conviction is that we can do that for millions of other kids.
What are you bringing home for them?
A lot of swag.
Yeah, what you got?
I think what, am I going to ruin the surprise? Actually, my kids probably don't listen to your podcast.
No.
I think I'm safe here.
I think they're big fans.
That's true. That's
We're really
definitely
big
true.
in the 7-year-old demographic.
That's right. You may want to edit that out.
We'll cut that one.
I'm eyeing up a pair of the pink Noble shoes.
Good
that my
choice.
kids will crush.
Good
so,
choice.
Yeah.
You
Good
got
choice.
when you bring a gift home for
Probably
three
same size as you.
Yeah,
So
maybe a little bigger.
All daughters?
3 daughters.
Okay.
When
Yep.
you bring a gift home for a daughter, you have to bring the same, right? You can't.
for sure.
Everyone gets exactly.
Unless you want a little Hunger Games in the
Oh,
living
Is that-
room.
yeah.
Like Christmas is
so-
like that. Like, hey, we're giving.
Oh, yes.
They're
for
keeping
sure.
tabs.
Definitely.
And that middle one, I can tell you from experience, is definitely keeping tabs.
That's
there.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's the way my son is. Whatever I give my daughter, he's like, I want that. I'm like, God, whatever. I just bring 2, regardless of what it is. So,
So, what are some of your best memories at Flagship?
Oh, gosh. Honestly, the thing that sticks out at me most is my early experience of just getting humbled. Honestly, like I ran a lot at that point. I was doing the like Globo gym lifting, and I thought I was in good shape. And I walked in that box, and I came in. I remember coming in last in every workout for an embarrassingly long time, and being unbelievably sore because my movement was garbage, and I just wasn't at the level of fitness that I thought I was, and that was so motivating for me. And to be able to see really quickly, to start to see progress and results was incredible. So that first and foremost, and then meeting folks, and I ended up training at that box for about a year, and then I switched jobs and I moved down to a box down on the peninsula in the Bay Area, and have trained there for the last 7 years. And I've got a group of friends there that I see every morning, 6 a.m.
That's
who
great.
are now part of this circle, part of my community, and so it's become just such a big part of my life.
the community aspect is something we kind of give people a hard time about. It's like not something to hang your hat on, but it is a differentiator, right?
For sure.
It's hard from a business standpoint to sell that if you're an affiliate owner like I am, but it is in fact a differentiator. Like it's tangible, it's palpable. When you walk in, you see it. What we saw at the Capitol the other day, you're not going to see that in any other sport.
That's right.
Like that's not happening. There's no F45 or whatever, and no, we're not poo-pooing on any of those companies, but it is different.
For sure.
And we just have to learn to leverage that a little bit better is the problem.
I think I couldn't agree more, and I think it's something that we, in my experience, it's hard to explain with words.
Correct.
You have to experience it individually, and there's the heart of the community. The first part of the community experience is that local community within the 4 walls of your box, and that is impactful, and I think anyone who gives CrossFit a shot experiences that would speak to it. And then there's the larger community, that we experience here on weekends like this. But look at it. If we look back at, we're in a time now. We look back over the last 3 years with COVID. We've got, tens of millions of folks around the world suffering from anxiety and loneliness and stress. And human beings need.
We've talked about this
connection
ad
and
nauseum.
community. I told the story a little earlier this week, but one of the most visceral moments I've had in the last 2 years was the day that I got the email. My box was going to open in person. So we were shut down. I was doing the training at home, and I walked into the box that day, and you had to wear a mask. It was miserable.
In California was hit
California.
really hard.
That's
Yeah,
right.
totally.
That's right.
And you had a little,
It was tighter,
the box did an amazing job,
Right.
within the constraints, but you have a little square you got to stay inside. Anyway, I did the workout, and I get my car, and I'm driving home, and I've got this huge smile on my face, and I called my wife, and I remember just telling her, like, I am so happy. And it was just that connection and being back in the community. So, that stuff really matters.
I don't think it could be overstated, and I'm glad that HQ and the community is driving back in that direction to really, really bring the affiliate and the coach forefront, because I think that's our superpower as far as the CrossFit community
100%.
is concerned. So how did you find? So you have kind of a tech background, is that correct? You kind of worked in the tech industry.
I did.
Yeah, because Facebook, Google, Pinterest,
and then the last 6 years.
You worked for those 3 companies?
I did, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never gotten into Pinterest, by the way. My
That's
wife's
weird.
big
You
into
feel
Pinterest.
like you're kind of target user, but
you're actually their avatar.
I'm lying. I have to.
So how did you go? So
Yeah.
I'm just curious about that. How did you go from the Marine Corps into the tech industry?
yeah. So I got out of the Marine Corps, got off active duty end of 2003.
So you did your 5 years, and then
I did my 5
got
years,
it.
couple of deployments. I'd studied engineering undergrad. I really enjoyed that. Honestly, when I got off active duty,
Were you a Group 1 or a Group 2 major?
I don't even remember
What kind of engineering?
I was systems engineer.
Here we go.
I think it's Group 2.
Here we go.
I think aeronautics is Group 1. I was Group 3 though. So
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
didn't even know there were
stones.
3 groups.
Yeah.
There were not 3.
That's because 3 groups is low. That's what they tell the kids that are failing out. You're in group 3 now.
Yeah, so I got off active duty. I ended up going to grad school, largely to kind of figure out what the heck I wanted to do.
Where'd you go?
I went to Stanford.
Okay, so he's qualified for this position. That's Ivy League, correct? Is that Ivy League?
It's not Ivy League. It's not Ivy
okay.
League.
Edit that out.
I don't feel
right.
like you know what Ivy
Not
League
qualified. I'm back in the maybe qualified bucket, but I'm okay with that. Yeah, so
You stayed on the West Coast. Yeah.
Yep, stayed on the West Coast, went to grad school, and then ended up, got into technology and worked with, first job at Google was working on a team that supported small businesses that were using Google's products. And so worked there for 2 years, great experience. Moved to Facebook after that in 2008 and helped build a kind of global operations team. So we supported users, small businesses around the world, helped scale the business globally. Moved to Pinterest after that, where I spent about 3 years in a role we called head of operations. It was the business functions. And then in 2015, I left Pinterest and joined a startup called Athos. And Athos was really, that was probably the point when I started to really shift into the sports fitness, human performance space. So we were a smart apparel technology company, really, really interesting, focused on helping athletes drive better outcomes through this technology product.
Like wearable tech or like?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's compression apparel, shorts and shirts that had embedded sensors that track muscle activity. And then we would use that data that would give us a picture of your biomechanics effectively. And we would use that to assess an athlete and then be able to make very specific recommendations to improve their overall movement quality and overall performance.
Is this something that's primarily like in professional athletes, or is this to kind of like?
So we started
general?
there.
Okay.
Are you wondering why you've never seen it? Like
just
right now, I
curious.
feel like your head is exploding. Like,
curious.
oh, it must be.
We don't need judges anymore if we have this wearable tech.
I am
compression.
thinking one day we will go that route.
It's probably not unrealistic.
Who knows?
Is that going to be the first order of business? Fire the judges.
It will certainly not be. No, yeah. So we got a chance to work with. We started in the elite sports space.
Typically, where that kind of stuff starts.
Yeah, and it was exactly so. And then we actually did quite a bit of work in the Department of Defense. There's this.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of the work we did was really in service of trying to reduce musculoskeletal injuries through repetitive stress, and so we did a lot of work there.
Okay, very cool. And then, so when was this a long kind of interview or vetting process to get to CrossFit?
It was probably in the neighborhood of about 2 months end to end.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. What was that like? Just out of curiosity.
It was a mix of very stressful, mostly because honestly, when you have something that you want with all of your being, right? Like the stakes are so high.
Felt like trying to get on this show.
That's right. That's right.
Like, I really want to get on there.
That's right. The opposite of that. So So it was So there was that of from the beginning I was like, God,
right.
this is a long shot, but if I have an opportunity to join this team, oh my gosh, that's the dream job. And then it was actually quite an interesting process of getting to know the business. So my first order of business was I had my individual perspective as a member of the community. But I talked to some box owners and talked to some employees, some former employees, just to try to learn a little bit so that I could go in and have a perspective and point of view as I was talking to members of the board as we went through the process.
Very cool.
Where does one see, CEO job opportunity? It's not like it's in the newspaper. Like, hey, we're looking for a CEO of CrossFit.
You still reading the newspaper?
Certain sections.
We're going to talk about that.
So in this case, actually, happened to through a friend of mine, had heard through, in a lot of cases, companies will hire recruiters, executive recruiters to look for someone. And in this case, a friend of mine had heard about it and said, he knew how passionate I was about the company. And so he connected me to the recruiter.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Who tells you got the job?
That comes from the board.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a group call?
It's not.
Oh.
Usually there's, in a lot of cases, there's a couple folks on the board who will specifically get involved in that part. So
very cool.
How did you celebrate with the family?
So I actually happened to be on vacation with my family. So we were actually in Nicaragua at the time. And
the 5 of you, I assume.
The 5
wife
of us.
And 3 kids.
Yes, exactly. Wife and 3 kids. We're in Nicaragua, and got an email, And so we had this
Immediately hired a babysitter, honey. We're going out.
Exactly. It was amazing. So we had an awesome dinner there and a couple rum cocktails.
Nice.
And yeah, it was, pinching myself. It felt very, I did the last part of the interview process on Zoom from Nicaragua, just praying that the internet would hold up so that it would go through. So that'll be, I will remember that for a very long time.
That's very cool.
But you haven't, we've announced it. Has there been anything done thus far? Has it really just been like, welcome to the team, come be present at the games?
Like, have I done any actual work yet? Is
yeah,
that what you're
yeah,
asking?
yeah. Other than putting up with me.
Which is a lot of work.
Because if I have to do more of that, I'm out.
He's quit.
Honestly, the timing around this actually in some respects was great and in some respects was suboptimal. This is the most important moment of the year for the community, for the team. Mm-hmm. We really didn't want to add another distraction. We didn't want this to feel like it was last communication, but we found ourselves in this position where the decision was made. We had the games and trying to figure out, is it better for me to start before or after? And we ended up, obviously the decision we made was to announce it and have me start. And really because we believed that, me having the opportunity to be here and just meet people and learn would be
I agree with
invaluable.
that.
Yeah, you were going to be here. People get to know who you are, see you interact. You get to introduce yours. I saw you, doing a great job.
I understand why you would
introducing
think it would be
yourself
suboptimal, but I think it was good. There's no better place for you to get fully immersed in CrossFit in the community than right here.
Yeah. So the work for me this week was listening and learning, period. And that'll be honestly most of the work for me for the first couple months. Look, I have a point of view and I have a perspective, but I need to talk to and hear from all the folks who have been doing this a long time to make sure that perspective is really well informed. And so this was the start of it, and I'll come right out of this and take the next steps on that front.
Do you mind if I ask, when you were kind of going through that, trying to gain that perspective, would you mind sharing any of that? Like, what was your perspective of CrossFit, the company, the community, and what you had kind of deduced from all of that?
Yeah, and obviously bear with me. I'm on day 4 of this job, so it's still really early.
So you don't have like a white paper?
Not yet.
Okay,
Not that I would give to you.
I'm going to need a rundown.
Yeah. I guess I'll, some obvious stuff. I think first, and I'd say what's been really interesting actually is that there were some perspectives I brought, as I was flying out here, that I brought with me, informed by my personal experience and conversations I'd had. And then there's just the richness of those particular topics after you get a chance to see them and feel them and talk to people. So the first was how unbelievably unique and special CrossFit is, this community is, the impact it has on people's lives, how unbelievably passionate and dedicated our affiliates, our coaches are, our methodology and the impact it has on folks. Is really rare and really special. And, I was really lucky to get a chance to work at some companies that have touched a lot of people. But in terms of the impact, there's nothing that holds a candle to this. And what's really exciting is, while we've already touched millions of people, this is a product that can help hundreds of millions. And so there is so much opportunity. So that was first and foremost. And look, I know that's what drives everybody in this community. They know it, they feel it, they see it. So that was one. 2, we've gone through this community's gone through a lot of change.
Yeah, the past 2.5 years have been a little rough.
You have COVID, you have, leadership transitions and changes. And so look, change is just fundamentally hard, especially when you have this large, complex, passionate ecosystem and where everybody wants to be running in the same direction. And we can achieve, the greatest outcomes of reaching hundreds of millions if possible. We need to work together to get there. And so that, it was pretty clear coming in that the uncertainty and the change that's happened is a challenge that we got to work through. 3, again, I touched on this before, but getting a chance to meet the affiliate owners from all over the country, all over the world, to hear from them firsthand the impact they're having, how passionate they are. Again, I knew, if you had asked me what changed my life, it's CrossFit, but more specifically, it's those coaches at those boxes. And so That just, I came in with a perspective and opinion, but that one really drove it home for me. And then, look, the last thing I'd say, I guess, is, and there's tons of other perspectives and takeaways, but our number one job at HQ is growth, is helping bring CrossFit to more people around the world, telling our story. The folks like me who are nervous about going to the local box because they've got an injury and they've heard it's dangerous. It's our job to tell the story because we know that's not true. Mm-hmm. We have countless examples of it. I talked to a bunch of people this week, and so we got to work really, really hard to get the word out there and get the message out there so those folks are walking into the local boxes unprompted where their life is changed. We got to continue to empower our affiliate community. We got to work really, really hard. Again, they know how to run their business. They know how to change lives. Our job is to empower them so they can reach more people. And so that's the energy that I'll take back, and that we'll work to focus on.
That's very cool to hear.
Yeah, I think CrossFitters are this unique thing. It's like your favorite rock band as you're growing up, seeing them go to these bigger venues. You're like, wait, I want to be back in that dive bar so I can see them up close and personal. But I believe I was telling people here at the affiliate, I'm like, we should have a CrossFit label and it should be on food, and we should start to really expand and get out there, because who cares if we're at Target or Walmart if we're impacting millions? Like, that's why we got into this. All of us that started as coaches and now affiliate owners, we just want to help people. Mm-hmm. So we shouldn't limit it. We should try to grow that thing. And if CrossFit grows, every affiliate out there is going to grow.
Yeah, and what I'd say is I agree 100%. We need to reach more people. But along the way, we have to be really careful not to lose what is so special and so unique. What is the essence? And there are so many cases of stories that get to the big stadium, and the sound starts to change. Mm-hmm. The style starts to change. It's not that band that you fell in love with. It doesn't feel as authentic anymore. And the same thing is true for us. Like, there is something, the methodology, et cetera, that is so fundamentally special and important about our brand. We have to safeguard and manage this brand really, really carefully. We just got to figure out how to take it and get it to more people. And so, yeah.
Nicole Carroll was talking about that the other day up in one of the panels, and she talked about how when CrossFit started, it was a resolution, and she says, now our job is to be resolute in holding the line as we move forward. She gets me fired up.
If you want to get fired up, you listen to Nicole Carroll talk.
About something.
We've heard her talk, luckily, at many trainer summits, and we always leave there.
I think having somebody like her, that kind of can tip, put their finger on the scales there is really important, because I don't know that there's a true believer of the methodology in the company than she is.
Believer and someone who understands it better, without question.
But I think as long as there's events like the Capitol happening at every box around the world where the last person is being cheered on by the community, we'll never lose that. We can be in Target, we can be in Walmart, but so long as the camaraderie is there, we will always have the true essence of CrossFit.
I know you're super new in the seat, but what do you kind of foresee, or have kind of talked to either the board or other folks, is like, what do you think one of the biggest hurdles we're going to have in that endeavor is from a growth standpoint?
Well, I think, coming back to what we were just talking about, number one is we've got to get really clear on how we manage the tension between preserving the magic and growing. And I don't think we are clear enough on this yet. And so that's our job. Like, we got to be able to tap into folks like Nicole who really get it and understand and figure out how we scale it. So that is a very challenging job, but I have absolute confidence we can do it.
I think I envision it a lot. I always go back to the level 1 manual, but I imagine it very similar to the balance of the technique and intensity. Yep. It's just like, it's not either or.
That's
so
right.
Like, hey, we're not trying to abandon what we know, and we're also trying to not grow what we do. But how do we find that, really symbiotic, marriage between those two things? Be like, hey, let's do both. Let's do both, just like in CrossFit, just like we just witnessed out there on the floor.
They
help each other. Like, how do we do what we just did out there on the floor? What we just witnessed is like fittest on the world that move well, and I think that's the balance to be struck.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to steal that metaphor. I'm going to give you no
zero.
credit for it.
Perfect.
Give us best hour. And speaking of, I'm going to throw it out there right now. Emma Lawson, that young girl, she's going to win the games because her technique is phenomenal.
Yeah. She was the teenage division winner last year, and then she probably takes top 5 this year. I don't know what the final standings.
She was like hanging in there depending on that last event, but you can see it. She was moving so well. She's going to stay injury-free longer, and she's going to become more efficient. And she's like, how old is she? 18, 19?
I think
she's
she's out at
17.
18.
17. She's so young. I mean, she's going to get strong.
What are you most excited about?
I am most excited. Look, in the long run, the thing I'm most excited about, I was telling someone a little bit, I was walking around the venue this week, just kind of taking it in. And, you look at being here physically and looking at people, looking at their state of health and fitness and happiness, honestly. This is, you walk around the venue, people are happy and kind. And I had this moment of experiencing that and thinking to myself, there are very few places, maybe zero on the planet.
I was going to say zero.
Where you have a collection of people like that. And that when you think about the opportunity we have, which is how do we make that circle really, really big? So that's what I get excited. I mean, that will be a service to humanity when we do that. So I get really fired up about that.
That's cool.
Short term, I am really excited to spend more time and get to know the team. I'm going on a affiliate tour. We've got the team getting out and market. I'm going to go out and meet some more affiliate owners, East Coast, West Coast. We'll get international. That's a hugely important part of our business. I'll get out there and just excited to continue to learn.
Very cool.
Where are you heading up?
Where are we heading?
Yeah.
We're heading to 5 cities on the East Coast. I forget which ones they are, and 5 on the West Coast.
Just dropping into boxes, dropping into boxes, talking?
Yeah. Yep. So we've got a bunch scheduled, talking, listening, learning.
Will that all be before the close of the year? Or what's
yes.
that time? Okay.
Yes.
That's great.
Yep.
That's really
big.
It
Starts in the next couple of weeks. I hope that's already been announced and that I'm not just springing that on the community.
Well,
but
as you like to say.
Yeah, breaking news.
Bury the lead.
You staying in California?
I am. Yep. So I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we'll get out to Boulder for my L1 and spend some time with the team, and then we'll continue to get out on the road.
Very cool. Well, we want to be respectful of your time, but I do want to ask this question. So the audience for this show is almost solely box owners and coaches. Anything you want those groups of folks to know as you kind of take the reins of the company?
Yeah, for sure. First, thank you. Again, this isn't possible, wouldn't have been possible without you. To know that you will continue to be our priority and our focus in empowering you, making sure you have what you need to continue to get it done. And then 3 is just an ask. Continue to be vocal with us. We work for you. Be vocal, hold us accountable, push us, share feedback. I know this crowd is...
Say, be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for. But look, we need to continue to learn and get better, and that dialogue is really, really critical.
Man, that's great.
You wanted to give out your phone number so they can contact you directly?
No, we can give out yours.
And you wanted us in the C-suite. Is that what it's called?
Jay he just doesn't even know what that term means. He just throws it out. Yeah.
This has been, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I could not be more excited because CrossFit's changed my life. I know it's changed Fern's life. We hear about it from, like Fern said, the box owners and from all the coaches and members out there. I think we are in phenomenal. We're not basing it off the split stash. We're just we're basing it off everything else about this guy. Just top notch.
I think you just got an email that
we don't have any videos of that, do we?
Katie, Nate, we'll see.
Oh, geez.
No, I just as soon as Fern and I met you and we were working out, we're like, we are in good hands. This is going in a great direction, and I think the community needs it. Like you said, we went through some tough times, and I think our listeners respect our opinion and listen to us. We believe in you, and I think we're going to really see some awesome things. I'm so excited for where CrossFit's going. We've been saying, like Fern said, after the pandemic, it's never been a better time to own an affiliate, and I think it's gotten even better. So we are excited about this.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And I'll say, I've done a lot of talking this week. Talk is cheap. We got to go get it done now. So all the stuff that we've talked about and things you hear from me, now the real work begins. So excited to come back at some points and continue the conversation.
Yeah, talk about getting it done. Well, I think that's a good place to end. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for checking out this episode of the Best Hour of Their Day podcast. We appreciate you listening and choosing to have us help you in your passion for coaching and affiliate ownership. You can find more episodes just like this on all podcast platforms. If you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to us on any social media platforms, or you can visit www.besthouroftheirday.com to book a call. If you found this episode helpful for you, please share it so that we can help other coaches and affiliate owners to help build a bigger and stronger CrossFit community. Thanks for listening.